In this video we're going to solve this quadratic equation here by factoring. We've got 2x squared minus 7x minus 30 equals 0, and we need to find the two solutions. When we have a squared, there's going to be usually two solutions. There's some somewhat exceptions to that, but we won't worry about that right now. So this particular trinomial is going to factor. And in order to factor this trinomial, it's a little bit tougher because we have a 2 in front of the x squared. So I'm going to use what I call the AC technique. I'm going to think of this trinomial in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So 2 is in the a spot, negative 7 is b, and negative 30 is c. And so what we're going to do is we're going to multiply a times c. I'm going to do this in a little brighter color. Let's do blue. So 2 times negative 30, and that is negative 60. And what I need to do to factor this is figure out what multiplies, what two numbers, I got to fill in these boxes here and come up with two numbers that multiply to give negative 60. Well, there's a lot of different options for that. To narrow it down, the next stipulation is that whatever two numbers I pick here, they have to add to be negative 7. That's the trick. They have to add to be negative 7. Add to equal negative 7. So we could hunt around for these numbers. Let's see, we've got 6 times 10 is 60, but that doesn't give you 7. 15 times 4, 12 times 5, that sounds like it's going to work. 12 times 5. Because it's a negative, we're going to need one positive and one negative, and that's how we can get the negative 7. So if we do, I made these boxes a little small, see if I can squish this in here. Negative 12 and a positive 5. Those are sort of my magic numbers here. Those multiply to be negative 60 and add to be negative 7. So what I do with those two numbers is I'm going to rewrite my trinomial, except I am going to split my middle term, my negative 7x, I'm going to split it into these two numbers over here. Negative 12x plus 5x minus 30 equals 0. So what I did here was I took my 7x and I split it into negative 12x plus 5x based on these two numbers I found over here with this AC method, multiplying a times c. Now, to continue, I'm going to factor by grouping. So I'm going to group the first two terms together and the last two terms together, and then I'm going to take a common factor out of each set of parentheses. In the first set of parentheses, we have a common factor of 2x, which leaves us with x minus 6. In the second set of parentheses, we have a common factor of 5. Take that out, and we're left with x minus 6. This is not a coincidence. If we do this right, what's in the parentheses should be the same. X minus 6, x minus 6. That's a good sign. So to finish now, we take what's in the parentheses, x minus 6, and we factor that out of each of these two different terms, and we're left with 2x plus 5 equals 0. Okay, so now we've got it factored, x minus 6, 2x plus 5. To finish solving, we set each factor equal to 0, because we know that each of these factors are going to multiply together to give you 0, and that can only happen if one of the factors is equal to 0. That's the only way two numbers are going to multiply to be 0, is if one of them is 0. So either this one is 0. If I add 6 to both sides, I get x equals 6. So if x equals 6, that would cause this first factor to be 0. No matter what this is, we would multiply to get 0. So we've got a solution. This one, we'd have to minus 5 from both sides and then divide by 2, which would give us negative 2.5 or negative 5/2. So that's my other solution right there. So if x was negative 2.5, this first factor would come out to be like negative 8.5. The second factor would come out to be 0, so they would multiply to be 0. Both of these x values would cause an answer of 0, so they are both solutions to the equation. Hope that helps.